Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to the post-run commentary for No Gold Pacifist Chain Low Percent Eggplant Abzu. If you don't want to hear me talking and pausing as I go over in more detail kind of what happens in these runs, you can just watch the actual run, no breaks, in the description. But if you want that extra insight, then this is where you want to be. So, you might have heard me say the category name, like No Gold Pacifist Chain Low Percent Eggplant Abzu. What does that even mean? Don't worry, I'm gonna tell you. No gold's pretty simple. Just don't pick up any gold. Not much else to it, to be honest. The next one, though, Pacifist. The game does have ownership mechanics to determine if you killed something or if something else killed something. And we use that to determine if we are still pacifist or not. And then next up is chain low percent. So low percent normally says you can't pick up any additional items. You have your 4 ropes, you have your 4 bombs, you have your 4 health. That's all you get. That's all you get for the entire run. However, this is a chain run, meaning that the Ujadai can also optionally be collected, but we must do the required steps to get Chilin and go to Sunken City, which includes the Crown or Hedget, the Ankh, Tablet of Destiny. And this is a Chain Low Abzu run, meaning we are forced to go through the Tide Pool route. And then last is Eggplant, meaning that we have to go to Eggplant World, and this is another exception to low percent. We must pick up the Eggplant Crown. And other than that, that's all the rules, so let's go ahead and get started. I've been lazy and I haven't watched this run back, so I don't remember exactly what happens in it, but that's okay, we're gonna find out together. First level is pretty simple, nothing really happens there. So here we're gonna get the Ujadai because I see the key and it's fairly easy obtainable. I think at this point I'm still trying to clear No Gold Pacifist Chain Low Duat, which the non-Eggplant version of that category. Here there's a spider in the way, so I just damage tank since there's not really much I can do about it. And there's a nice resourceless Ujadai. Now, here's a present. So I'm looking around for an altar, then you can just run out of the shop with the present if it's on the far left. The situation's a little awkward. I don't like the bat over there, so I have to dodge the shopkeeper and then also manip the bat to try and get it down here so that I can jump out to the left and over it. I'm still looking for an altar and then I see one. In the top right, which is not the most convenient position ever. Here I'm gonna do something a little bold. I do try this on occasion, but it usually doesn't work out. But yeah, grabbing the ledge makes the shopkeeper run up the ladder, and then I jump on his head. So now I'm back up here, just kind of moving the stuff out of the way, and then placing a bomb while lined up against that wall works, and destroys the 2 tiles that I need. But now I also need to get around this bat, so this level's a bit of a chore. There's also a sapphire there, but it doesn't really do that much. It does give the bats more time to chase me though. So here I'm just gonna group the bats up. And then once they're grouped up, I can just jump over them fairly easily. I still have to be worried about the shopkeeper because I don't know where it is now. Never mind, he's still on the left. That jump was a little scary. I was considering putting down the eggplant and whipping the arrow. That's what I normally want to do in this situation, but the bat, the caveman, and the skeleton were scaring me a little bit, so I go for that jump, but it works out. So here in Quillback, I'm just kind of checking both sides to see which one's going to be easier to traverse. There's like 2 bats on the right, but there's all of this happening, all of this happening on the right, and there's 2 bats on the left. So, not a huge fan of either option, to be honest. I wanted to aggro both of the bats there, but I only aggroed one, which makes this pretty awkward. So yeah, this is an interesting way of dodging these, but it works. I'm trying to get them perfectly synced, but they're not cooperating very well. Okay, I end up doing that to jump over them. This is cool. I mean, it's fine. Because, yeah, the skeleton just triggers the air trap for me. Okay, I do go through the extra effort to try and set a back air skip, where sometimes in certain positions, Quillback can roll and kind of like break enough tiles down here that you don't have to go in the back layer at all, but it is RNG and I don't get it. But it doesn't really matter since the back layer is normally not too much of a problem, and here it isn't. This situation's a little funny though, because I mean, it's not bad, like, I just don't like what's happening on the left, but I don't really have much of a choice, because pushing the push block down would kill the lizard, which I cannot do. And then that was just pretty maybe not self-explanatory, but it wasn't that crazy getting past the shopkeeper. Yeah, Volcano tends to usually not be super eventful in this runs, besides the one problem level. And Volcano is usually like a pretty consistent area for Pacifist low percent runs, which is definitely very nice. I do like Volcano. And then I see that there's no drill on this level, so I know that drill is on 2-4. So, okay, the drill level. The drill is kind of a very major problem in Pacifist chain, well, not so much regular chain, but Pacifist chain low. Because the thing is, when you activate the drill, anything that the drill kills is considered your fault. Which is very bad, because there could be things at the very bottom of the level that you don't know are there, and then the drill kills them, and then you lose Pacifist, try again, restart. Or like Magmars can spawn in lava pits, like right as you activate the drill, which could also lead to kills. So it is definitely one of the biggest RNG checks in the run. I don't have any like actual hard data, but anecdotally it feels like a 60-40 in your favor, I want to say. Like, it does feel like you're more likely to get a Pacifist drill than not, but, you know, still not fun to deal with. But obviously in this run, it's going to work out, because this is a successful run. We wouldn't be here if it didn't. So yeah, that robot down there, the drill could have killed that robot, in which case the run would have been lost. But otherwise, very clean drill. I do see, like, that skeleton there. I'm just aggroing him while behind the bone block so that it goes off to the right and out of my way. So, Scarabs. Scarabs are, like, mainly an issue in flats. And their AI, basically, if you're above them, then or above them or equal in height to them, they'll move randomly. But if you're below them, you can actually manipulate them, because they'll try to run away from you. So that's probably what I'm going to end up doing here. Yeah, I'm trying to get the Scarab to move into the right and into that corner. then you can just jump onto that tile with the gold bar on it. It's not that scary when you've done it a million times. And here I'm just trying to get rid of these vampires by whipping them and then placing them on the conveyor belt, and then this will move them into the spikes. Do note that if you place them down like over here, like really close, then it probably won't be pacifist because they need to be on the ground for a certain amount of time before like you lose ownership of them. So just make sure to place it like far. So not too much going on here, although I do opt to grab a hired hand. Yeah, that's what I thought, which I'll explain in a moment as we get to Olmec. First, I need to wait for the scarab. Just kidding, I go this way instead because I don't like waiting for that scarab. But now I'm below it, so I can just ensure it moves away from me. Very slowly, but... And I'm repeatedly picking up, putting down the hired hand to make sure it doesn't, like, run away. And, like, pick up gold is the main concern. So... one of the main things I need to talk about is how do you actually get the eggplant to ice caves? And there are two ways to do this. You can either use a hired hand, or you can go to Waddler. The advantages of the hired hand are that it doesn't require any resources. The disadvantage is that you have to use a hired hand, which if you've tried to use them before, you might know they're not the most reliable, or yeah, they're just not the most reliable thing to use, especially in a no gold run since they like to pick up gold that's around them. The other option is Waddler, which usually takes one bomb in Olmec, and then you can use a landmine or a UFO in ice caves, and then 2 ropes to get from Waddler to the eggplant altar. So, which is a pretty hefty resource investment. And I opt for a hired hand in this category, and that's kind of for 2 reasons. One, it saves ropes, and ropes are actually very, very important in this run in particular, because of one of the things I'm going to do for Abzu later, which involves using ropes. So if I use Waddler, then I effectively don't really have any free ropes for the entire run, which is pretty bad. And then the other reason is that I want a hired hand for the Abzu level anyway. So getting one now just means that like I have a more trusted hired hand later on. And hired hand trusts, basically, the longer you have a hired hand, the more it kind of trusts you. So if you try to put a hired hand to sleep by like picking it up and placing it down, if you like just got it, it'll run around for a while and then finally fall asleep, but it'll wake up pretty soon after that. But after a few levels, you can place them down and it'll just go to bed on the spot without running around or anything, and then I'll sleep there for I think 2 minutes, which is definitely much preferred and makes things much easier. So I just got this hired hand like last level, so the hired hand still doesn't trust me very much. So going into this next level, I get like a heart attack because I see gold immediately to my left. So normally what I would do, if there wasn't any gold, I would put down the eggplant, the hired hand would automatically pick it up, and then run around and fall asleep on its own, since they're like programmed to not want to do anything on Olmec besides sleeping. However, that doesn't work here because the hired hand will just pick up the gold. So you may be thinking, okay, what if you just pick up the hired hand and move it to some other location? And I've tried that one time before. However, that one time, the hired hand moved back all the way to the entrance and picked up the gold anyway. So I don't know if like they always do that or if that's normal behavior for them on Olmec. But like I've never tried it again after that because I don't trust them anymore. But like I see this gold and I'm immediately like, okay, I have to kill this hired hand. which in my mind means I'm forced to go Waddler. Now, I don't actually have to go Waddler, like I could have used the hard hand on this level in the back layer, but I just don't think I thought of that. I might even end up getting that hard hand, I don't remember. But yeah, pick up the hard hand immediately and then just kill it. This is a fairly awkward Olmec layout, actually. Normally there's not like that much gold around. But yeah, I move Olmec way out of the way so that way I can go back, retrieve the eggplants. Just doing some Olmec stomps, getting Olmec to crush that piece of gold. There's a sapphire in the crust though, which I have to deal with somehow, which I choose that way, and then get Olmec to crush it. There's also some other gold nuggets that I need to get rid of, and another gold chunk in the crust. That's kind of annoying. Not the greatest Olmec ever. Oh, this one is particularly awkward because, as you can see, Olmec is not really wanting to crush that piece of gold. Just putting the eggplant up there because I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna put it in Waddler later. Doesn't really matter. Okay, this is that didn't work. This is pretty funny. So yeah, I just ended up doing that. I don't know why I didn't do that from the beginning. That was a little silly. But now we're gonna use that ladder to get an initial hit off of Olmec, and then we're just gonna kind of create this giant hit using the ledges. Okay, I missed there. But we're gonna use the ledges to act as things we can climb up so that we can actually reach Olmec. I did make the pit wider than I needed it to be, but this is like pretty standard. And now I'm gonna take Olmec all the way to the left of the arena, because that sets up for a pretty safe and mostly consistent strat. You just like, as you can see that I did there, you kind of like line yourself up next to Olmec, which I think is typically referred to as repositioning him in Spelunky HG. I hope I'm using that correctly because I'm going to continue using it. So we reposition him once, then he spawns a UFO, we get the UFO to attack, and then we move Olmec over to stomp the UFO. This is kind of like the best way to get rid of that UFO while also setting up the terrain nicely for what we want to do like right now. So we reposition him twice, and then he'll do another like UFO spawning, but they'll both spawn inside walls. And then you get Olmec to like jump in place twice, and then the same thing happens. So this is like a pretty textbook Olmec phase 3 fight. Pretty much exactly how you want it to go. Things can get a little messy if there's like any gold spots and you have to like improvise, but it doesn't usually happen. And it's like usually not that big of a deal to have to improvise that section. So Olmec backfire is a little bit scary, but usually not too bad. Okay, I don't like what's happening over there, so I'm gonna go to the other side. And then the eggplant I left up here. Okay, I don't end up grabbing the hard hand on this level. Okay, so that's why I opt for Waddler then. Hard hands are they're just risky and no gold, so. And then here's Tide Pool. So Tide Pool is a very scary area, particularly for pacifists and kind of no gold. Coral can obscure gold, which can be bad in some situations. Also, lots of 1 HP enemies, which I do not like. I do pick up a rock here just because rocks can be useful for solving gold positions that would normally softlock you and force you to use like a resource or something. End up grabbing a new rock because I hate the old one. The old one said mean things to me. Dark level, that's pretty cool. So I do end up bringing the torch because I want to see, but I have to be careful of accidentally lighting anything, like lighting any of the torches in the background. They can, torches can spawn like behind here, in which case they can be very, very hard to see. So you do have to be pretty careful of that. So yeah, just kind of making my way down the level very slowly. I did light the torch there, but when gold spawns it has invincibility frames where you can't pick it up, so that was pretty safe. Don't try that in Spelunky HD though, you will just pick up the gold in that game. So here I'm trying to... Yeah, I throw the torch down here to see if there are any gold on this tile, because gold can spawn in spikes. Because what I want to do is like jump directly to this ledge, but I'm worried that I won't make it, and then I could land on this like coral tile. And this coral tile, if there's a piece of gold behind it, it's completely obscured. You can't see it at all. I think I was actually probably trying to throw the torch on that tile, but I missed. But this one also works because I just have to do that jump. It is a little scary, but you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay, I'm still concerned about gold in the spike pit. Oh, I also back-whipped the coral there. Like, yeah, right there. I back-whipped the coral, so, and I see that no gold like flies out from it. So this hermit crab is awesome. Yeah, I just whip him and then the line trap kills him. Which is not Pacifist in Spelunky HD, but it is in this game. And then I just leave the torch behind, since I'm going to be needing to ditch it anyway pretty soon for the Excalibur. That scarab thankfully gets itself killed. How cooperative. I'm mainly scared of like assassins here, like just raining down from the ceiling randomly. I was also worried there that a gold bar could be behind this and the lion trap could like hit it towards me. So I had to watch out for that, but also for the two enemies that are jumping my way. Just kidding, there's a third one that I was invisible in the dark. So just wait for them to all drown, and then you have to deal with this situation at the exit. Which is like not bad, it's just waiting. So here, the 4-3 door is a pretty big problem, because it could just spawn in a spot that requires resources. And I think I know what I do here. Yeah. So I ought to bomb here, and you may be thinking, you have 4 ropes. Why are you using a bomb? But remember, I need all of my ropes, basically. For Waddler, since you basically need 2 for that, like you can do it with 1 or even 0 if you're lucky, but it's not reliable. And then I'm gonna use multiple ropes on the Abzu level. This does anger Tusk, which like could be a problem on 6-3. It's definitely not ideal, but I didn't really want to have to cook the bomb. And yeah, I end up seeing here that there was no door over here, so the bomb was like kind of wasted, but I do still think it is good to check to know for sure. But now I have to deal with this situation, which is a little awkward. So yeah, you just wait for Tusk to go away, then stomp on the bodyguard, and it's not too bad. These enemies are like kind of annoying. And then I see the door, it's perfectly accessible. This situation looks pretty fun. Yeah, I get rid of the axolotl there, which is probably what I was hoping to do since they're very scary. Lava is always pacifist, so you don't need to worry about, like, throwing someone in there. Then the other enemies are pretty easily dealt with. Scarabs, bats, and gold can spawn in the back layer, so you do have to be a little bit careful here, but there was nothing in this particular run. Now I'm gonna hit the idle trap and then die as fast as possible. This is not just to save a little bit of time, but actually if you die to the lava instead, some gold from like the tiles above getting destroyed could like fall on you, which is bad. So you want to get out of there as soon as you can. Then we're just gonna do the same stomping maneuver as before. Dodge these guys again, and then look for the door, which is just right there. So, Abzu, how is this level going to work? Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use 2 ropes to get up to Kingu, and then get her down to 1 health. And then after that, I'm going to be using a hired hand in order to do the last hit, since hired hands are not considered your fault if they kill something, which is very nice for pacifists, actually. I would maybe say you could consider using a hired hand for like the majority of this run and just keeping it with you as a companion, but it's a big problem in no gold. Which is why I don't do it here. So here I am trying to just get a bunch of stuff out of the way, because remember, the hired hand in this level is like way down and I need to like retrieve him, but he's also pretty likely to run away from me. So I'm just trying to get things as like hired hand proof as possible before doing anything else. Now it's also worth noting that you can do this fight with 1 rope, like if you put the rope all the way on the right and wait for Kingu to walk to you, but I don't understand how that works like at all, and I don't know if it's like consistent. I don't know if you need to like do anything for that to work or if it just does work, which is why I don't do it, because otherwise I would definitely go for the 1 rope version and then save the rope for elsewhere. So yeah, so here I'm just gonna slowly do 20 Excalibur swings while only going up while King is moving in order to avoid any enemy spawns. And then that's 20 Excalibur swings done. So now I need to do 9 whips. Just kidding, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared of this guy, maybe? Okay, now that guy's out of the way. There's nothing to be scared of anymore. I accidentally spawned an enemy there, but it was, oh, it doesn't cooperate very much actually, but you can just kind of wait and it'll eventually jump off. Okay, that was 9 swings, I guess. I wasn't really counting. But there we go. So now, after 20 Excalibur swings and 9 whips, Kingu's at 1. So we're gonna go grab his hired hand. Gotta be careful of the fish. Just constantly putting him down. There, he escaped. But putting him down and picking him back up again so that way he doesn't do anything funny. Which, this segment's like a little sketchy with the hired hand not trusting you very much, but kind of jumps out at the perfect spot. And the hired hand whips Kingu. And there we go. Okay, So am I gonna... Because the thing is, I don't want the hired hand into Ice Cave, so there's some consideration for trying to kill it here, but there's just not a super great way to do that, so I don't. Which means I do have to babysit this guy for another while longer. Random explosions, always fun, but there's the Eggplant altar. So I just leave the hired hand there and just kind of hope that nothing bad happens, because it won't. Nothing bad will happen, right? That skeleton opens a wall there for us. How kind. So, okay, it looks like... Okay, I was gonna say, it looks like you could have saved a rope there by having the UFO excavate a couple more of these tiles, then you can use the bounce pad to kind of reach up here. Although I guess, no, you'd probably still need to use 2 ropes anyway, because you just get here, then you get stuck. But as you can see, the hired hand has ran off, and it did kill a UFO there, which is bad. So at this point, I'm like panicking a lot because the hired hand could very easily like pick up gold or something. Thankfully, that doesn't happen. So I am pretty fortunate there. Here, just getting up to the Eggplant altar. And now we have the Eggplant child. The hired hand did wake up again, but this is a fairly safe area. Not very much gold. Then ice caves drop, which can end runs, but like it usually doesn't. So I'm still trying to like get rid of this guy because I don't want him anymore. I'm probably just gonna drop him into the abyss. Yeah. So it is, you could maybe consider bringing a landmine into Neo, but like this is the exact situation where I wouldn't want a landmine. Maybe not the exact one, I think there is something worse that can happen at the entrance, but basically the advantage of carrying a landmine is that it's like an extra bomb that you can use just honestly just to skip like any annoying layouts to make Neo a little bit safer. However, having to put down the landmine and pick up the Eggplant child like immediately before like anything happens, like before they can pick up the gold, it's not super easy to do. So that's kind of why I don't opt to grab one here, even though my resource count does look pretty dire. Like 1 bomb, 0 ropes, not great. Do have 4 health at least. But thankfully there are no like UFOs or anything at the entrance. That's like kind of the real scary part of Neo. But Neo, like overall, I'd say it's actually typically more consistent than the other areas. Like sometimes you will just lose, of course, because it's Neo Babylon. That's what Neo does. But it's like usually fine. And this area is like somewhat pacifist friendly too, because you usually don't really need to kill anything to go places. Here I'm just gonna put the Eggplant child down there to make sure that they are completely safe. So here, I think, yeah, the Ushapti room is off to the right. So you need to go up here, and then find whatever thing I need. Cracked wood eye. So the Ushapti room can be a little scary in Pacifist just because of the scarabs, and sometimes bats can spawn in here as well. But as long as you just take it a little bit slow and safe, it's like not that big of a deal. I'm being pretty methodical and thorough with my searches, but there's the one. Cracked wood eye. And then there's a situation out here, laser jump scare. That could have very easily hit me if it activated while I was walking over there. But it does also mean that there's a nice path just conveniently down to the exit. And then we get Qilin. Now note that we can't actually ride Qilin. You can only do that on Tiamat because this is a chain low percent run. I guess I didn't mention it, but same with the Excalibur, we can only swing it on Abzu. You cannot swing it before then at all. Remember, the Tusk guys are mad at me, so I do have to be careful of that if my path ever crosses them, but I don't think it does. It looks like this level just kind of goes to the exit, yeah. Which is very nice. So yeah, pretty calm Neo. Not much happening here. Sunken, however, Sunken is a different story. Because we need to transport the Eggplant child all the way to the mother statue, which, depending on like enemy and gold layouts, can be pretty bad, and in general, Sunken is a pretty awful pacifist area, like really bad. Now here I do grab a rock with me, because gold softlocks can also happen in Sunken. They're not super common, but they happen often enough to where, like, in these sorts of high-level challenge runs, you want to be carrying some sort of item that gives you counterplay to them, and a rock is, like, pretty much the best item you could get. Just has the most versatility. So I'm gonna leave that rock at the entrance. If I need it, I'll come back later. But now I just have to babysit this child. Tubes are, like, pretty annoying. This frog's also annoying, but tubes just, like, mean you have to pick them up pretty soon afterwards, which doesn't always work out nicely. Here, I think I'm gonna destroy the bubble wrap in a pretty specific way, so that way I can climb up and avoid the tubes and dealing with that, like, grub, dealing with those grubs. Yeah, this first jump was to see, like, what was over there, to see if the arrow would kill anything, and then I see that it doesn't, so I'm safe to just do that. So here's where, yeah, the Eggplant child can be pretty nice. Like, I just put him to sleep next to the grubs, and then they just kill them for me, which is pretty nice. This tuber in particular is, like, the annoying one with Eggplant child. Because, like, sometimes you're just, like, coming out of the tube, and then before you can grab them, they just go back in. And then it's just kind of like a wild goose chase of them going back and forth between this tube, and it's very annoying. So we did get the worst possible mother statue on this level, but it was still fine. I think here, yeah, I'm just looking... I'm probably gonna grab that arrow, is what I'm gonna do. Yeah, because I do want this arrow for later, because I'm going to try to use this in order to kill Hundan. So I'm bringing that with me. Then I'm going to also put the Eggplant child down. If you didn't know, when you put them on the mother statue, they actually don't follow you into the next level unless you pick them up and move them somewhere else. I think if you put them back on the mother statue, they actually still don't follow you. I had that happen to me once, and only once. I've never tested it, but I'm scared to do it now. So make sure to move the Eggplant child, just get them to hold the poison arrow. So that way I can carry them and the arrow at the same time, because I need the Eggplant child in order to kill the Eggplant King, because this is pacifist, so it's like, okay, how do you kill Yama? How do you do that? The answer is just a hired hand. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do it with the poison arrow. I'm just gonna leave the poison arrow by the exit, so that way I can pick it up on my way out. But now I need the Eggplant child to go, like, grab some other object. Probably gonna go for that rock, it looks like. Yeah, just get them to pick up the rock, and then do that. You can stand on his shoulders, and then you just drop the hard hand holding an item, and then immediately fall to the platform below. So the rock from the hired hand is not considered yours, it's not your fault, so it's pacifist, and you want to drop immediately in order so you don't collect any of this jelly, because remember, low percent means you can't get any extra health. And there's a lot of extra health all over the place right now, so we have to avoid that, and then kind of see where the Eggplant Crown lands, and then try to pick it up afterwards. So this is a little funny. It's actually like pretty good though. I can just kind of, as you can see, I just kind of jump, get the Eggplant Crown while avoiding the jelly. And then just carefully climb over the vines. Don't try to go too fast there, because if you like jump, if you're on a vine and you jump and then you try to grab another vine too soon, it actually doesn't let you grab it. You have to wait like 6 frames after jumping in order to grab it, or I guess it's 6 including the jump frame, but yeah. So here, yeah, just get the Eggplant Child to deal with that for me. This is a little awkward though. I don't want the Eggplant Child to like climb up and hit the gold up there or something. Oh, I see that the orange frog explodes there, and I'm like, okay, I have to move the Eggplant Child, because as you can see, gems are like raining down on that area. So that could have been pretty bad. Also, in the meantime, I'm like trying to get these grubs to like jump down. When they're kind of like floating in the air, they'll only jump at you like after they stop moving. So that's just kind of like what I'm waiting for to happen. So then another thing you have to consider is how to actually get rid of the Eggplant Child, because you really don't want to keep holding onto it by the time Undone rolls around. I don't know if I do that in this run. I think this was before I realized a certain strat that I do is actually bad. This situation is pretty funny. Just waiting for all of them to get collected by this tongue trap, and then I can just go up. This situation's a little, like, awkward, but you can kind of just go back and forth in the tube forever and you'll have iframes, and eventually they'll jump at you. There, I think I forget that I have Eggplant Crown, and I think I try to, like, back with the bubble wrap. But, yeah, using the Eggplant Crown to trigger the arrow for me. And then just kind of going up. And then looks like the rest of the level is pretty simple. So you may notice I didn't actually get rid of the Eggplant Child. It's still with me. Which is very bad, because you really don't want to have the Eggplant Child on Undone. And Undone's kind of like... It is the last level of the run, but it's also one of the worst. Just because I mentioned Sunken's already bad in Pacifists. Like, very bad. Some enemy layouts can take a lot of time in order to like get past them safely, but Undone puts you on a time limit, so we don't have the luxury of time anymore. And in order to get rid of the Eggplant Child here, because I really don't want them to be following me through the entire thing, I'm just gonna leave them on the ground there, and then they will just die in the spikes as Undone like goes up. However, this is bad. Also fitting music, by the way. This is bad. You don't want to do this, because what can happen is that crusts, gold, or gems can like fall on the child before they die, and then you just lose the run. That's how I lost the Duat version of this category on my first and currently only Undone enter, which the run like did finish, but it's not no gold, so I'm sad. So hopefully I can get that fixed soon. But yeah, don't do this. Just find a way to like kill the Eggplant Child and bubble wrap or something. This jump over that gold is like a little scary, but it's like not hard. I mean, everything is scary at this point in the run, to be honest. Okay, hello orange frog. Hello blue frog. This is pretty cool. The blue frog just kind of gets stuck there. The orange frog is a little bit more annoying, but Okay, I kind of... Okay, I guess I just don't have the poison arrow anymore. I think what should have happened in this situation... I opt to break all 3 of these tiles here, but I think it's actually better if you only break this, like, top left one. So that way you can just jump, grab the sledge, and then jump up here without needing to, like, do this awkward kind of juggling the poison arrow through kind of thing that I end up doing, which the orange frog gets in the way of, meaning I can't retrieve the poison arrow. This frog's also cool. I do find a rock, which is an alternative way to kill Hundun, but it's much more dire, and then this gold here is a little funny, but I'm pretty confident in doing that jump I just did. So, in order for the rock strat to work, you have to, like, count how many times the chicken head takes damage in order to know exactly what HP it's at by the time it reaches up here, and then do some, like, very specific maneuver. But, I just find a poison arrow, so, who cares? It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm just checking the Hundun arena, seeing if there are any enemies anywhere. And then it looks like I'm just gonna wait for Hundun here to come up on this left side. And then I'm gonna move over to the right, and then stand in this spot. And what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to get the snake, or the chicken head, to shoot the snake head. So it misses the first time, but then the second time, this starts happening. This is called, like, infighting, where you just get the chicken head to shoot the snake head over and over and over again. This happens due to, like, a weird, like, I don't know if it's a bug, but maybe you can call it a bug, but, like, it's a weird quirk of how the game works. This was also patched in, by the way. The game didn't used to work like this. But sometimes the chicken head can stop firing at the snake head, which is, like, random. That does end up happening here. Do trigger that arrow on accident. That was a little scary. Scarier than it needed to be, but it worked out, so that's okay. And our platform on the right did get destroyed a little bit, but it's actually fine, since it was only the rightmost tile. So we're just baiting Hundun over there, so that way we can set this up again. And yeah, like, this looks scary, but it's pretty safe still. Chicken head does miss there, unfortunately. So that's the snake head down, and then in order to get the chicken head, you just drop the poison arrow. And then just, that's it. That's all you need to do. And then chicken head will die to poison, and then it's Pacifist. So I drop the poison arrow, and then I go over here, and then I just wait. Like, that's it. I just wait. I just sit here for like 13 minutes-ish, and just wait for chicken head to die. I mean, like, why do anything when you can just do nothing and then win, right? Like, I don't need to play the game anymore, so I'm just not going to. I'm not in a rush. I have time to spare. So that's it. That's the whole run. That's everything. That's this category, monster of a category. And that's this run that cleared it. Overall, the seed was actually, like, pretty kind. Definitely could have been worse in many places, but very happy to have this one cleared. It was a while ago. It was like 9 months or something, too. But anyway, what do you think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you hate me? Do you love me? Do you want to, like, hit all the funny buttons? The subscribe button, the like button, or, like, the dislike button, maybe, if you're evil. And like, how was a commentary? Do you want more? Do you want less? Was this fine? Do you want me to just, like, do whatever I feel like? Or, like, the audio balancing. Was the audio okay? I hope it was. That was kind of, like, one of my concerns going into this, that would be bad. But if you did like this, thinking about doing more of these, because I have some other runs that I could do this for that I think are interesting. If you have any suggestions, then, like, let me know. Let me know what runs you want to see commentated. Also, tool assisted runs too. If you want to see like in-depth breakdowns of those, then ask. Tell me that you want that. And if you like just are like really hungry for more commentary, and you're watching this like right as this comes out, like this is my only commentary video, but you really want more, I would recommend checking out Hectique. Hectique has done a lot of these like post-run commentaries for Spelunky HD, which they are very interesting, very fun to watch. They're also what inspired me to do this, so you can thank them, or you cannot. I don't know. You can do whatever you want. I don't really. It's not my place to decide. Anyway, do I have anything left I need to say? I don't think so. I think I can just like end the video right now. Like I can end the recording and